Hey guys, welcome back. I haven't done one of these in a while. I thought it was timely, and uh, and that's Amazon has a bunch of budget brand guitars, uh, and more have been surfacing over recent time. And I just thought I would give you guys my perspective from my experience with various brands. And again, it's just my opinion. So mileage may vary amongst those out there. And I'm looking for your input and your feedback on if you have common experiences and opinions that I'm providing, or if they differ and you have completely different experiences and other brands that I'm missing here on Amazon. But these are the usual suspects, the more popular brands. I may have missed a couple, but I think I've captured most of the more popular ones. And I'm categorizing them basically by price range. So first off, let's start with the lower priced uh, suspects, right? So we have Monoprice, which everybody knows, and uh, great company. They provide usually a gig bag at least, or include, I should say, a gig bag with their guitars, and it's a decent quality gig bag, semi padded. Their guitars are typically decent out of the box. At least that's my experience. Some occasionally you're going to get your sharp fret ends like you do with most inexpensive brands, but for the most part, usually the string height is reasonable. Um, they're free from really glaring defects, at least that I've found. And, you know, they are somewhat intonated. So they're pretty decent playable instruments outside the box. And you can get extremely good deals when they're running their sales, which are very frequently 25% off, 30% off, or as you guys saw recently, just blowing out certain lines of guitars at crazy prices, below $50, which is nuts. Then you've got your other brands, and I'm going to mention them. Asmus, that's one that I've tried one guitar, but they're recently surfacing with a lot of different styles of guitars on Amazon. Glary, Licks Pro, Best Choice or BC Guitars, Leo James, Gear IT, Pyle. Now, I believe Pyle, Pyle, and Asmus probably share the same factory. That's my take because a lot of their guitars look extremely similar in design. But they're both low end guitars. They're made in China. Um, they typically have very, very inexpensive components on them. The piles that I've had are actually surprisingly good from a finishing standpoint, and as well as the Asmus, the one that I've had. But they're much, at the lower end of the spectrum, and typically from a price standpoint, you can usually find these guitars for $120 or more, right? Glary, very inexpensive guitars, very cheaply made guitars. It's another brand. Um, so I'm going to rank these guitars in the order of which I think you get as a consumer the best value and best quality product, best bang for the buck. And what's included in my assessment is the guitar playability out of the box, um, the quality of materials used, and how well they're finished. How the guitar looks and feels, um, playability, and components. Those all come into my assessment of the company, as well as does the company provide any kind of support. At the top, I've got Monoprice, mainly because they do provide support through a text, online text capability, as well as a phone number. So you can get through to them outside of just regular email. Um, and they have extremely good pricing. That doesn't need to be said. Nothing needs to be said more about that, as you've probably seen from recent sales. They sell guitars in the electric line that are, Strat style guitars, Les Paul style guitars, semi hollow style guitars, acoustic guitars. So they have a whole host of different styles that they sell. Then there's Gear IT or Gear It. I'm keeping them at number 2 in terms of how I feel they rate. And they are extremely low priced instruments. You can typically get them for under $100, around $98, and sometimes lower with Amazon, coupons on top of that. Decent quality of woods that they use and finishing on their guitars. The weak points with the Gear IT, I think I mentioned before, are the tuners. They're extremely low-end tuners. But as many have said, they can be replaced. That's a minor thing. Pickups are okay. They're fair. But, bang for the buck is very hard to beat these guys, and they also ship with a gig bag. Leo James I've got is 3. Now, if you want to look at the overall, capability of the guitar, some might add that they argue that it should be ahead of Gear IT or Gear It. The only reason I'm putting them at 3 is their prices have gone up. And typically they start at about 150-ish, 140-ish, and then they go up. And they can go up well over $200. But they have some new models that are very, rock metal style guitars. Ball Shredder loves them, right? He's talking about them all the time. They have, Charvel style, Jackson style guitars that, are aimed at the metal crowd, right? So Leo James is there. Then below Leo James, I have Licks Pro. They get very good reviews. I've only had one guitar, a Strat style guitar, and it was okay. But they are typically around, $100, $110 and up. Strat style guitars mostly. They have Les Paul style guitars. Very good bang for the buck. They typically use decent components in terms of woods. Pickups are probably a weak point on these guitars. They're a little microphonic, but they're decent. And then below Licks Pro, in 6th place, I've got Glary, and they make very, very inexpensive import guitars, and typically the pickups are horrific on the guitars. They're very, very microphonic and low-end sounding pickups, but again, they can be replaced. But the bodies, typically, the finishing are questionable in some cases. Support is next to none. I mean, you can email them, but it's usually a couple of days before you hear anything. And right neck and neck with Glary, I have Asmus. And then at the bottom is Pyle. I just don't have a lot of experience with them. I had one guitar with them. It was decent. But again, it was very, very inexpensive, very low quality, hard to get a hold of, company type of stuff. So that's my assessment in the $100 and up type guitar category. Again, the top 3 that I have in that category are going to be Monoprice, Gear IT, and Leo James. And then the next category is a little bit more expensive in terms of entry point. Prices have gone up, surprisingly, for this one company. But we've got IYV, that Donner, Firefly, right? Used to be on Amazon, no more. Now they're sold through Guitars Gardens or Guitar Gardens. Grote and West Creek. And how I rank these guys, probably debatable again, but again, it's just my experience, is I've got IYV at the top of the list in terms of standard equipment that it comes with in terms of pickups. I really like the pickups, the stock pickups that ship on the IYV guitars. I think they're decent sounding pickups. They are not microphonic. They have a surprisingly good tone for stock pickups. And again, this is just my opinion. Also, the finishing on these guitars are very good. They usually use decent tuners, stock tuners and pickups and woods on their guitars, so the components and electronics are a little bit better than norm for very low-end budget guitars. And they are responsive if you email them. They don't have a phone number that I know of, at least, that I can call. They don't have any way to text them, but they do seem to at least be somewhat responsive. They're made in Vietnam, out of the same factory that a lot of other guitars. Harley Benton at one point was made out of that factory. All-in-One Guitars used the factory in Vietnam, and a couple of other companies as well. Number two, in this price range, I have Firefly, and that probably can be reversed depending upon your experience with the products. But they make very decent quality instruments, semi-hollow guitars, Gibson-style guitars, Fender-style guitars, for reasonable money. Although they have gone up now, they're around $200 for their guitar because they charge shipping from their website. On Amazon, they used to have free shipping. Now they actually charge shipping. So by the time you include shipping in the price of the guitar, it's coming close to $200 and up for them. My number three in this category is West Creek, and that's becoming a very popular guitar on Amazon. And they had started out with a semi-hollow ES335 style guitar. Then they came out with almost like an Ibanez artist style semi-hollow. They also now have added SG, offset SG style guitars they call the Racer series. They have Explorer style bodies. So mostly Gibson style guitars that are decent quality. Beautiful woods, usually mahogany based bodies with maple necks. They do use rosewood on their fretboards according to their specs at least. But the guitars have been going up also in price. Typically, they start out close to $200, and then usually you'll find a $30, $20 coupon on Amazon. So their guitars are usually close to $200. You can get them for $170, $180 if you're lucky with the coupon included. But they are a step up in terms of the quality of the guitar. The tuners, stock tuners, are decent on these guitars, and the pickups are okay. I found them to be, at least, not microphonic and pleasant to the ear. What else? They don't come with a gig bag. That's the only thing. No accessories, just the guitar. So that's West Creek. After West Creek, I am including Donner next as my number fourth recommendation. And Donner make decent quality guitars. They really do. Very good support from the company. The quality of materials are good. They use decent woods in their guitars. Their stock pickups are acceptable. Their finishing is usually superb. I've had no issues really with any sharp fret ends or ungodly high string action. They're usually set up pretty well and playable out of the box. The pickups, again, they're okay. They're not the best. Certainly that's why I'm ranking them fourth on the list, but they're okay. They're decent. And in fifth place in this particular category is Grote, or Grote, depending upon how you want to pronounce that. And Grote has been going up rapidly and steadily from a pricing standpoint. These guitars used to frequently be seen for $99 and less. And most recently, occasionally you'll see that, but the majority of their products are $170 and up. So their prices have gone up considerably for whatever reason. Their quality is okay. I've had issues with sharp fret ends. I've had issues with, less than stellar bodies with blems on them. They're a little sloppy, in my opinion, on Q&C and testing and checking. But again, it's a low-priced item, and they're shipped in mass production, so that's to be expected to some point. But yeah, so summarizing this category of the next tier up, we've got Ivy, or IYV. Boy, I shouldn't say Ivy. IYV, Firefly, West Creek, Donner, and Grote. And the last category, which is about $250, $275, let's say, and up, we've got ERT, or EART, or EART. And these guys are really competing with, in my opinion at least, with Epiphone and Squier, because their price point is a little higher, their quality is a little bit better, and in some cases people say it is better than a comparable budget Fender guitar. So The E-Art Strat style guitars have gotten very, very strong reviews on YouTube, claiming that they're better than a lot of the low-end Squier guitars. Their pickups are decent. They're usually ceramics. They're not Alnico on the lower ends. The woods that they use are okay. They're nothing out of the ordinary, but the finishing, the fret ends, are always exceptional. That's what they're known for. No sharp fret ends. They have the ball fret ends. They were the ones that actually started it on the budget guitars. And their quality, control is very, very good. You very rarely find an E-Art guitar out of a box that's not playable, that needs to be set up properly. So you got to give them their kudos. They've done very well because of that. Great looking guitars, usually Strat style guitars, some semi-hollow guitars. They're expanding their line now in terms of other styles. Again, they are positioned with your low-end Squier guitars, your Affinities and your classic Vibes, as well as your Epiphone lower-end guitars. So, those are the brands that I've been seeing on Amazon, and that's my assessment, my personal assessment based on my own experience with these brands. If you guys agree with my assessment, please share it in the comments. If you disagree equally or have other brands that I'm not covering here, let us all know. We'd all love to know your experience with various brands. And again, this is just my opinion, and these are based on the more common brands on Amazon and ones that I've had personal experience with. And again, looking for your comments as well. If you like these videos, please subscribe. If you have anything to add or questions, again, put them in the comments below. And until the next time, guys, be well and stay safe. Take care.